taxes, keeping my book straight, running a profit and loss statement, it all gets so confusing. I used to spend more time trying to worry about my taxes and if I'm doing them right than I actually did working on my business. I needed a solution. That is when I found Core Financial. Core is a team of tax professionals that actually care about real relationships with their clients. From the moment I hired Core, I was able to trust that I will be fully taken care of. They run my books, keep me up to date with my finances, and make sure I'm taking full advantage of all the tax breaks I qualify for. Are you struggling to understand your finances? Do you need help making sure you don't make any mistakes? Look no further. Core Financial. Both Nick and I are huge fans of Core Financial, and we know you will be too. Check out howtofilmweddings.com/core to see what they can do for you. Core Financial. Real relationships. No surprises.
So, number one, what did you charge for your first wedding?
$500.
Number two, when is the best time to raise pricing?
Right now.
3, do you offer discounts? And
Yes,
4,
sometimes.
how has COVID-19 changed pricing for you?
Okay, that one's long.
Hello and welcome to the How to Film Weddings podcast. My name is Nick Miller and I am joined by my best good buddy, Mr. John Bunn. John, how are you doing today?
I'm doing really well. We just finished a conversation with one of our favorite bearded friends, Matt, who is Matt Johnson. He has a course coming out today, which is really exciting. We talk all about that. We talk all about a lot of things, what's going on in the world. But to answer your question, I'm doing really well. I've started coming back to my office a little bit, kind of getting back in the routine of things, all the way caught up on wedding edits, thinking about the future, just really feeling refreshed. And so we talk about that even a little bit in the podcast. So yep. I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing really, really good. I'm starting to, I kind of touch on this in the podcast, but I'm starting to think a little bit, future, rest of the year, kind of goals and, what's next for our family, for our business, that kind of stuff. So anyway, I think just under the circumstances of the coronavirus of COVID-19, like I'm doing as well as I think I can be. Yeah. And so anyway, we were really fortunate to have Matt on the podcast today. So John, let's just go ahead and jump in.
Let's do it.
Well, we are joined by Matt Johnson. Matt, how are you doing today?
I am doing so good, as well as can be expected, considering I haven't left my house in weeks.
Yeah, I think we are all feeling that. I know in some parts of the country they're kind of slowly starting to open stuff up. I know in Kansas they were in phase 1 of reopening right now. Is that kind of where you are in Texas?
Pretty much. They're basically saying you can open up some restaurants and things, and I still haven't actually gone out to explore any of that. I have a grocery pickup in a few days that will have me actually leaving the house. That's about it, though.
Yeah, that's kind of, I think, everyone in a nutshell right now. Everyone can really, really relate to that. John, how's the lockdown going for you?
Man, Oklahoma's great. The weather's perfect. My windows are open all the time. I'm enjoying it. I'm enjoying the family time. I have been driving to my office because I did think I was going to go crazy. But other than that, I haven't been out much either, doing the grocery store pickup. Tulsa's kind of opening back up. I think they're in the same kind of boat, phase 1, but I'm not going anywhere yet. So just kind of doing a lot of side projects, doing a lot of texting with Matt Johnson. So just living the dream. So
yeah. I think all of us are ready for stuff to get back open, but at the same time we're all super cautious. Yeah. Well, I think most people are, and they're like, "Oh, okay, everything's open, but I'm still going to wait a month before I go anywhere." So yeah. just to be safe. To be safe. So anyway, Matt, you are now, I don't know, this is your 3rd, 4th, 5th time on our podcast. You're
resident podcast guest. Yes.
Yeah. You're like host 1C.
I'm on the group cover photo. I saw I was up at the top. I was like, oh, good. I get top corner. Hello.
And your photo really stuck out because you were on that blue background, and everyone else was boring. So
that is not true. Everybody else. Blue. That is not true. It was
Just kidding. So, the last time we had you on was in around episode 60-ish, 65, somewhere in there, I think. So, why don't you just kind of catch us? I can't remember if your child was born then or just happening. I mean, it's kind of been a while. So, why don't you just kind of catch us up a little bit on what you have been up to over these last few months?
For sure. It's been a whole lot of head down, get as much editing done as possible, video stuff done as possible. I had 2020 was going to be like the year of travel. It was Mexico in January, Australia in February. We're going to go to Italy in April, all this stuff. And then we managed to do Australia, and we got back March 1st, and then everything was done. And so I got a wedding coming up in July now, and I'm like, is travel going to happen then? Don't know yet. I hope this wedding happens, but it's all up in the air right now. So it's been a lot more time to edit and a lot more time to actually get stuff done, which is good.
Yeah. I remember you said that whenever your baby was born, you were purposeful and you took off a bunch of time, to work on, your YouTube and your courses and kind of all of that stuff. And one of the things that we want to talk about today is you have a new pricing course that's actually dropping today. And we want to get into that and we want to talk about that. And I think if it weren't for COVID going on right now, we would probably spend a lot of our time talking about pricing, and I think all of us would probably agree that the push that we would go to is, hey, just raise your prices, right? But now just kind of with the uncertainty of everything, maybe really pushing that isn't the best advice that we can give for the current climate in May of 2020.
It doesn't matter, just keep doing it.
just keep doing it. Keep doing it.
If you're booking weddings, just keep booking them. That's good right now. We're all kind of in the survival mode, I think. But
yes.
There is a light at the end of the tunnel also that's like, okay, things are going to get back to normal. And then we'll all be yelling at you to raise your prices, I think.
Yes,
so.
yes, definitely. Yes, definitely. So we're gonna give Matt plenty of time to talk about that a little bit later in the podcast. But I think for this first thing that we wanted to talk about was we have all been given a unique gift, if you want to think of it that way, in that we all have a lot more time to do stuff, that maybe we didn't think we would have. I know so many people in especially, end of March, April, beginning of May, just, it was your busy wedding season, depending on the part of the country that you live in. And so now you're like, oh, I was going to shoot 7 weddings over that, month and a half period. And now I have shot 0. All my backlog is done. I mean, I'm sure for wedding videographers, we're in an all-time high of backlogs, like there being no backlog for people, right? So one of the things that many of us are able to do is, maybe work on that thing that's always been in the back of our mind that we knew that we needed to work on, but we just haven't had the opportunity to do so. So I know that was something that you were like, hey, we can talk about this idea for a little bit. So why don't you maybe talk about some of the things that you have worked on in your business, and then maybe some suggestions to help some other people of things that they can be thinking about, moving forward. So we'll start with you and your business there.
Definitely. It's funny because I feel like everybody is in this period of self-improvement, working on everything. The amount of friends that I've seen on Facebook that have completely redecorated their houses, or I saw a friend of mine today.
Look behind me.
I saw literally a friend of mine today who was like, yeah, I've redone 7 rooms in the house, and so all of my children's rooms have now been redecorated. And I'm like, this is crazy. But it's like, this is the time where we always have excuses of, oh, I'm busy, I got so much editing to do, I have so much backlog, I need to update my website at some point, oh, I should look at all of the things that I'm doing, I need to look at my client experience, I'll do all that next year. That's always the push, I'll work on that later. I remember whenever I first got my website built, I was like, that's good, and then 3 years passed before I was like, oh, I should probably work on this some more. And so it's this weird time where we don't really have any excuses. And it's like, oh, I actually can get stuff done. And I can make improvements. And all the stuff that you don't normally have time to do, you suddenly do, which can be good.
I know for me, I said this to my wife the other day, it's kind of like, whenever your internet isn't really working at home and you've just been using it a lot, and then like you're watching TV, everything just like kind of stops, and you're like, how long we've been sitting here? Like, our phone isn't working, the TV stops streaming, and it's like, well, I guess, do what you're supposed to do when this stops working is go unplug it, count to 10, and plug it back in. And it feels like we have gotten to kind of take the earth and unplug it, and we counted to like 8 so far, and we're about to plug it back in, and it's like, did you take this time to refresh? Did you, like, we won't go back to the same way. It won't be normal. It will be a new normal. And so for me, that's been the thing. Yes, we've redecorated our house and we've taken everything out that doesn't belong anymore. And like everything's organized. Our kitchen's been super clean for a month straight. Like it's just been, for me, it's been a really nice refresh. And so like my mindset moving forward isn't just like, how can I get right back into all the busy, but like, how can I, really focus on what matters and what's important, and like really soaking in those moments with my kids that I haven't been, or with my wife, or just like taking the time to read. Like I've read 3 books. I'm just like, what's going on with me? I'm like an old person. Like I don't want to turn on the news. I drink a coffee and read a book in the morning, and it's like so refreshing. And that's kind of how I'm feeling as we're kind of creeping, out, looking, saying, are we able to come out yet? Like I feel refreshed. So yeah, I definitely, if you're listening, encourage you, if you haven't been doing that, to really hone in on that refreshing during this time.
That's good. That's so good. I know for me, I've had this list of like things to do with like business, and then also with like home repairs and stuff like that too, like a lot of people. But especially with business stuff, there's been this long list of I've had G Suite for like 2 years now, but for some reason I was still using like my free Gmail email for most of my emails because I just didn't want to migrate everything over. Like, that's going to take too long. I don't want to do it. And finally, it took like a day. It was like, okay, in the scale of things, I should just do this. And so now I finally did, and it's amazing. And I'm like, okay, good. Now I'm actually getting the value that I'm paying for. But stuff like that you're like, oh, should I really do this? I'll do it eventually. Now is the time.
And I think there's so many things in our life, like especially when you're at home and you can focus on, it's like, oh, my garage door needs this, or oh, we need a new shower door. But like when you start looking at the things that bog you down in your business and take like a little bit of this mind space back here in the back, that if you just do them and get them done, and you could be free to, like, I got all those things caught up in like 2 weeks. I got all my hard drives cleared off in an order, and like was able to send out emails to everybody saying, hey, if you want a hard drive, and sold, a couple $1,000s worth of hard drives, and like was just able to get the inbox down to 0, and just all the little things that are floating around. I think they have a much bigger effect on us than we realize. And once you start getting rid of some of those things, you kind of start realizing that you were trying to like run a race with ankle weights, or you're trying to, it just feels like you're running in quicksand, and you get rid of all those things, and it's like, now what could I be doing? And so like, I know that there's a lot of negativity going around in the world, but like my encouragement to the listeners is like, start removing those weights, really start focusing in on those things, because as all 3 of us could attest to, it's like getting those things out of the way. Now, like my mind is really free. Like I'm just dreaming again, like I wasn't dreaming. And it's just like so refreshing. So very, very good stuff.
I think that one of the things that, what we're going through right now has really destroyed a lot of people's hope. It's like we need to survive, and I understand that, and I get that. How am I going to get money coming in? Am I, providing food for my family? Those are kind of things. But towards the beginning of the year, everyone's thinking about goals and what do I want to accomplish this year and that kind of stuff. And then March 15th happens in the United States, and everyone's like, what's going to happen this weekend? Not even thinking about when weddings come back and what's 2020 going to look like, and what's 2021 going to look like. And so, as I think for most of the country, as we're slowly starting to get the train moving again, get the ball rolling again, I would encourage you to kind of sit down and say, okay, from June 1st to December 31st, here are my goals, and start, thinking forward a little bit, and encourage yourself a little bit, and let yourself know it's okay that for, 2 months, like you didn't think about any of that stuff and you didn't care because all you needed to do is survive. But as we're moving forward, what are some things that you want to accomplish and start thinking that way, I think is a great positive step in the right direction.
Definitely.
That
Yeah.
is neat.
Yeah. So I know that, and my wife and I planned to do this before. I think we contacted a designer in like January. So we're actually going through a website design right now, kind of a rebranding a little bit, kind of modifying what we currently have.
If you will.
A facelift. That's a good way to look at a facelift.
Wild Oak 2.0.
Yes, Wild Oak 2.0. Taking our logo and just tweaking it a little bit. We don't want to totally erase the stuff that we built over the last couple of years, but this is the kind of stuff that we're really excited about. And now it's easier for us to pay attention to it because, we don't have this big backlog, or we don't have, weddings to shoot or that kind of stuff. So Matt, for you, what are some of the things that you have been focusing on in your business? And you can either take this for, your Who is Matt YouTube or your wedding film business. What are some things that you've really been focusing on that you've been putting on the back burner? I know you mentioned the Gmail stuff, but what are some other things you've been focusing on?
That's been big. Also with business, it's been looking at all the stuff that we do and saying, okay, what can I make more efficient? Like, what can I speed up? What am I doing that I've just been doing the same way over and over again? So G Suite was kind of like that, where it's like, what am I doing? This could be so much better if I do it this other way. But also in terms of lighting in where I'm recording some of my YouTube videos, I'm like, okay, we need to revamp this. This needs to go over here. This needs to be a new light. Why am I doing things this way? Stuff like that. Just sort of a reimagining of so much stuff. And then with weddings, it's funny because I'm simultaneously like releasing this new pricing course, but I also have been like reworking my pricing as well with it. So nice. It was sort of a thinking of, okay, well, how am I presenting my pricing to my couples as well? If I'm telling people and teaching them how to present their pricing, does mine look as good as it should be as well, as good as it should as well? Good. Otherwise, I'm just some guy that's like, don't do it like I do it. Do it better. Like, you have to practice what you preach, kind of. And so I'm trying to do that.
Yeah, that's really, really good advice, and I'm glad that you're taking that to heart as well. That's one thing I know that John and I have noticed is we've shared a bunch of advice to our listeners and stuff, and we are doing our very best to do the things that we say, because if we're saying, oh, this will change your business and this is great, but I'm not doing it, and then someone's like, oh, that didn't work for me, then like you're a fraud, or we don't want to be that way. So that's great, and I'm excited to hear more about your pricing guide and all of that. Pricing, that's right. Okay, so John and I just released a posing guide, a couple weeks ago.
It's all the P's.
And so as I've been preparing
Payment
for this, I've been saying
plan.
posing guide. But it's pricing guide for Matt. So I'm glad to hear about that. Another thing that we did in our Facebook group is we dropped Matt's beautiful face on a graphic, and we said, hey, what questions do you have for him? And we got a plethora of questions for Matt Johnson, and we will jump into those here really soon after this break. So tell me, what CRM do you use? If you're not sure or you don't know what a CRM is, I'm about to save you a lot of time and therefore money. CRM stands for Customer Relationship Management. Basically, a CRM is an online service that helps you better serve your clients. HoneyBook is both mine and John's CRM of choice. We absolutely love it. HoneyBook allows us to do all of our correspondence, contracts, and payments all in one place. One of the features that I love is the automated workflow. We all have emails that we send out to all of our clients, right? At 6 months, 3 months, 1 month, the week of. All of us do it. Automated workflows make it so that those emails can go out automatically. Since I don't have to take time to, 1, remember to send them out, and 2, to write them, I save time and make more money by working more efficiently. Are you interested in saving time on the business side of things? Go to howtofilmweddings.com/honeybook for a free 1-week trial.
Also, because the Honeybooks really like me and John, we can give you $200 off of your first year, and that also comes with a 60-day money-back guarantee. So what are you waiting for? Go to howtofilmweddings.com/honeybook to start saving lots of time in your business. Oh yeah, legally I have to tell you that John and I are affiliates of Honeybook.
We're back from break with Matt Johnson. Glad that you're here. And we're going to start off with some questions from our Facebook group. Like I said, if you want to join our Facebook group, head over to facebook.howtofilmweddings.com. You can join the group there. We put Matt's picture with a graphic saying, ask your questions for him. And we got tons of really, really good questions. And we're going to start off here with our question of the day presented by Wedditor. Wedditor, more than freelance, more than outsourcing. And this comes from our mutual friend, Mr. Jay Worsley. And he asked a fourfold question, so it's like a bonus question of the day.
Good old Jay.
Questions on questions.
And I'm going to just
questions.
rattle them off real quick. So number one, what did you charge for your first wedding?
$500.
Number two, when is the best time to raise pricing?
Right now.
3, do you offer discounts? And
Yes,
4,
sometimes.
how has COVID-19 changed pricing for you?
Okay, that one's longer. Okay,
Rapid fire answers got me tickled. Sorry, I was
I
giggling.
thought you wanted that. I was like,
great.
okay. I thought they were gonna be like yes or no.
I don't know what I wanted. I just listed them all off.
Okay, $500 for my first wedding, which hey, better than free. I'll take that.
That is true.
What was question?
Best time to raise your prices.
Best time to raise your prices. I thought that was 3.
Nope.
Was that 2?
No, that's 2.
Discounts.
2?
Discounts was number 3.
Best time to raise your prices. I would say, considering the current climate, I mean, hold off for a few months if you want. Like, I would say get bookings rolling back in here, and then once you have like a safe buffer of bookings for a few months, I think it's time. Okay, it's time to raise some prices. I think that's good. And what was the third question? Discounts?
Do you offer discounts?
Ooh. Yes. And it really depends on the situation. So it's not going to be like everybody gets a discount or anything like that. But I think that there's some value to be had in where we're doing these, whenever we do like multi-day long big weddings, like wedding weekends, we'll have some times where we really want to take the couple out for like a shoot, either in like the morning or in the evening. And that's something that we definitely could charge for, but it's like really good for us. And so normally we won't charge as much as we probably should for that. Like there's certain things you can get that are going to be really good for your story and good for your visuals. And in that case, it's like, I'm okay with taking a little bit of a pay cut there to get what I really want, and just to kind of say, oh, well, let's just do this here. Yeah, we'll add this on, just cover our hotel and a little bit of the fees. And usually couples are cool with that.
Yeah.
And that usually ends up really being great.
Yeah, I true story. Yesterday, I was talking to this couple, and they were like, "Hey, we're ready to book with you, but we want to hop on the phone real quick." And I was like, "Oh, okay." And the fiance, the guy, got on the phone, and he said, "Okay, if we can pay you like $5,000 today, would you knock off $500 from the total?" And I was like, I mean, just taking the climate of everything and where we are and taking it, if you can give me a big chunk like that for $500, I'm like, okay, sure. So, but now do I recommend that for everyone? No. It's kind of, but where we are, I'm like, okay, I am good with that. So,
yeah, you're good with that. I think for me, it's like once you've hit your happy price, it's like, you know what, it's different than just being like, okay, my prices are $3,000, and then someone calls and like they're like, how much do you charge? And you're like, $3,000, but I could do it for $2,000. That's different. It's a different mindset than just offering some type of a discount, whether that be like some extra coverage time, or because most people, when they're asking for a discount, like unless they're just really strapped for cash, they just want to feel like they got the most value. A lot of time they're just like, we just figured we would ask, might as well ask. And so it's like, if somebody asks me something like that, I'm prone to be like, you know what, if you book today, we'll throw in an extra hour of coverage time, or we will give you we'll do a 1-minute teaser on Instagram the week of the wedding, or whatever.
We'll throw in our posing guide, and we need you to watch it so you can
Yes.
actually pose better whenever we're filming you. Thank you.
Yes, we will give you the digital templates for emails available at howtofilmweddings.com, which I've been emailing you about your wedding. No, I mean, and seriously though, it's like, I think most people are just, especially in America, like just, we ask for discounts, we ask for things. And so holding your ground though, like when I've done that, when people are like, do you guys do a discount for, like it being in February? I'm just like, no, we don't. But like we could also add this on. Like I don't usually pull away from the prices. I might throw something extra in. I know the question isn't for me. So
Yeah. And then the last part of that question, how has COVID-19 changed pricing for you?
Ooh. Like I said, it's been a lot of sort of rethinking, okay, what are we currently charging? What should we be charging? And so we had some thoughts of, should we raise our prices even more like this year? And we were talking about doing that, and we're like, let's hold off on doing like a price raise right now. So that was kind of one of the things. We're always looking at our prices every few bookings usually, and we're saying, okay, is this good? Should we raise? Should we adjust? And in this case, we were like, okay, we're going to hold off and just kind of, like the rest of the world, everything's kind of paused right now. And we're going to see how it goes, and then we'll reconsider in a few months. I hope a few months, once everything, some semblance of normal. What is normal? I don't know.
We don't know anymore. No. Some more questions. If it's cool with Nick, there was a bunch of good questions. So I'd love to ask a couple more. From
really
the
good
group.
ones.
One from my hero, Patrick Moreau. He says, "What do you believe is the single most important piece of content you've ever created?"
Oh, man, I saw that in the group. I was like, dang, Patrick coming in with like the hard-hitting emotional questions. Patrick, by the way, one of my heroes as well. Like, changed so much of my filmmaking life. Same. With Muse and with still motion and everything. Anyways, yes. Okay, two-part answer here for you. Most personal, like most important to me, would probably be a film that I made in January, or that I released in January, that talks about me and my brother growing up and our friendship and our relationship. Stuff about family, it's personal stuff like that.
I cried.
It was really good. It's quality.
I showed it to my family. Everybody cried. Like we're all just standing there crying. I love you all, and it was just, that was super, super powerful. But then I think like work that is less personal, that is like touched the world more, I guess you could say, if I'm saying touch the world. I would say that in 2008, I entered a video contest for Texas A&M University, and I was a student at the time, and I ended up winning. And that kind of changed the entire trajectory of my life from, I might do computers or IT, video, just kind of dabbling in it, to, oh, this is really good. I enjoy this. I have a talent for it. I should keep pursuing this. And that was kind of the shift for my entire life. And it's been real great.
It's cool.
Cool. That's great. Carolina asked this question. Love your work, Matt. She loves your work.
Thank you.
She has been a wedding videographer for a few years, but she doesn't have enough money to update her old camera. She has a 60D and can't afford a new one yet. What are some things that she can do to make her videos look better? She just bought a DR10L to improve audio, but she wants, the quality of the picture to look better. So what would be some suggestions you would have for Carolina?
For sure. I think it really comes down to learning lighting and lenses for the camera that you have. And I remember whenever I started with my Canon 7D, it was a revolution whenever I moved away from the kit lens. I was like, this is crazy. This looks so much better. And it was like I moved to like an f2.8 like Sigma lens, but I'm like, this is crazy. And then finally I bought like an actually good prime, and I was like, oh, that's actually how it should look. Okay, so I would say that. Also, I know that Shane Hurlbutt of Hurlbutt Visuals, he has a free course right now all about cinematic lighting. It's just on his website. Normally it's like hundreds of dollars, but it's free right now, and it's like really good. The guy's DP'd major Hollywood movies and stuff, and he's like, do you want to learn this stuff for free? And so just learning that, you can apply that to weddings, you can apply that to anything you're filming, and it's good stuff for no money.
Yeah, I shot on the 60D for quite a while, actually. That was like my go-to camera. It's a great camera. If you're messing, if you have good light, I mean, bringing in just something as simple as a torch LED or just little things like that was something. It's not the newest camera, but like it does the job for sure. So you can make great work with all of that. That's great advice. Another good friend of ours, Dave Williams, asked a question. Good guy, been around for a minute. He's kind of asking about like the temperature of your clients, not like what their actual temperature is, but do you sense they will financially?
We're using a thermometer. Every client, we meet with them and we take their temperature. Are you safe? Okay. You healthy? Great.
He's saying, do you sense that your clients are going to financially pull back or go all out to celebrate life, or somewhere in between?
So we had one wedding canceled that was in April. So thankfully we didn't have a crazy amount booked at this time, but the April wedding was supposed to be this like 300 plus person big party, and the couple has postponed, and they want to postpone for like a year. So they're like, we still want that to happen. Like, the point of this is a big party. And so I think that once we get back, they're going to be like, all right, we're back all in. In terms of other couples that I've talked to, and from what I've seen online from like couples that I've seen posting, and then couples that have I've talked to friends about that have been emailing them, like, people still really want to get married, and they're really like excited about it. And so I mean, my sister's getting married in August, and she is still, this is happening. Like, if we have to go to the justice of the peace, this is happening kind of thing. But she wants it to be a big thing. And so I think that people are still fully on board with that. And I'm thinking things are still going to be okay in a few months.
I agree.
I agree with you. So just what are you doing? Because I know this seems to be a question that's popping up all over the place. Couple moves from 20 to 21, or I saw someone post that they wanted to move from 20 to 22, in another group the other day. Are you charging any kind of moving fee or cancel contract fee or anything like that? Because, I mean, yes, it stinks for them, but it also, you're taking up real estate for us for the next year. So we're just wondering what your philosophy is on that.
Yeah, we've been talking to one other couple, and they were talking about changing to I think they wanted it was a date around a holiday, and I was like, I don't know if we can make this work in that sense, just because it's like holidays are crazy. But for us, I think that one of the best pieces of advice I saw was people were saying, if you can push to your current couples to like a Thursday or Friday or Sunday date, that way you can still keep Saturdays open for new couples. But I think that's good if you're seeing more bookings come in. But at the same time, if you're like, I need bookings now, take the booking by all means, get the deposit, and then I would then be pushing 2021 couples. I feel like there's going to be such a big shuffle of 2021 couples may be more receptive to having a Friday or Sunday wedding just because they know that everything's been crazy.
Yeah.
We're all going to look back on this in 2022 and we're going to be like, oh, this all happened this way. This would have been great. I
think most people get like in their head and think they have to figure it all out all at once. And the problem with what's going on right now is that nobody can figure it out all at once. And so it's literally like a day-by-day, case-by-case kind of basis. To the people that have, 100 weddings that they're working on, that's way different than someone that maybe like Matt has 10 to 20, something like that. And so for my couples, been able to move them to later in the fall. But I did have one say, if we can't do this date in October, we want to wait till next October on a Saturday. What would you do for me? And I was just like, to be honest, I don't know yet, because it's basically 2 Saturdays for the price of one, and October is already filling up next year. And I just had a conversation with them, and I said, I will treat you like I would if my daughter was getting married, but I would expect you to, empathize with me that this isn't just like, I can't just give you that Saturday date. I'll have to figure out a solution if we have to cross that bridge, because she's moved it to October, but she might, based on what the climate is doing in October, have to move it. And so it's not their fault. And so like, if you at least let them know that you're caring and that like you want to make it work, it's not an ideal situation for anybody. And so most of the people out there listening can change it to a day that would work. So.
And one thing I would recommend, hopping on the phone with someone is going to, they'll be able to hear kind of your heart and your voice behind it rather than just an email. Like if you write in an email, if we have to reschedule to 2021, there's a $500 rescheduling fee or something like that. They can take that, just that one sentence. But if you get on the phone with them and you talk to them and kind of explain the situation where you are and that kind of stuff, I think that goes a long way. Also, if you're sitting here thinking like, oh, you have to charge a rescheduling fee and that's what you believe, that's fine. If you're someone that's saying, hey, this isn't their fault, like why are you charging a rescheduling fee, for next year, and you don't want to do that, that's fine too. Like you run your business how you want to run your business. Also, if let's say the first couple that wanted to reschedule and you didn't charge a rescheduling fee, but then another couples start like, hey, let's go to the next year and you want to charge a rescheduling fee, guess what? You can do that even though you didn't for the first two. Like that's okay too. So I'm just giving you permission to run your business how you feel like you should. So
I would say even more than doing a phone call, like FaceTime has been so good in this time, just for that connection. Whenever we had the April couple have to postpone because it was April 4th and everything's closed, I was very intentional. Like I want to be on FaceTime talking to them, like
that's good.
Looking at them face to face, and so that way it's more compassionate and it's more caring, and it's. I mean, email's super cold and formal. Text is super quick, and even on the phone, it's like, yeah, okay, but like if you're looking at them, like I am so sorry, this is horrible. What can we do? Like that's just. It's basically it's almost face to face, which is as good as you can expect right now.
Yeah, that's good. Love it.
Yeah.
Love it.
Good. Dave also asked how he can get a lock of your beard in a jar. He'll pay shipping.
Yeah, that's my new nonprofit, Beard Locks of Love. That's coming in it's only for men, and it's going to be for usually facially or challenged men. It's a thing. We're still working through the branding.
I love it.
Sounds great.
I've highlighted
Matt
one in red, but go for that one. Go for that one. There's a lot of questions.
You already asked that one in red.
I did?
Yes, that was Patrick's question. You already asked
way
it.
Down there, next page.
Like a married couple.
Oh, it's so great. Yes. Okay, Brian Garcia. Matt, we'll come back to your question maybe. Brian Garcia's asks, I got an inquiry from a client for late July. She told me she's having a small backyard wedding with 50 people and wants me to cut her a deal because of COVID-19. She was supposed to have it at a venue. I didn't give her any discounts because the work is still the same. Yeah. Should we start cutting our prices during the pandemic for smaller weddings, even though the work isn't changing much?
See, the tough thing is it really comes down to what you're offering the couple and what your edit is. Because, for example, I had this wedding that was canceled in April, big 300-person wedding. The couple really wanted to be focused on dancing, on everybody having a big party. And so literally, how do you show that if everybody's socially distant and can't dance? That is tough. And so I would just caution you that whereas the couple may be saying, oh, it's smaller wedding, it's easier for you, it actually may be more difficult for you to make that edit. And, that can be rough. So take everything on a case-by-case basis, of course. But also, I think it all comes down to, do you need the money right now? Which is kind of what everybody's thinking. And it's one of those things. Do you need the booking? Take the booking. Like, within reason. Can you be safe? Can you be like socially distant? All these things. Then I think that's fine. If I know one of my favorite Australian wedding photographers photographed a wedding from his car. Like he had like a 400 millimeter lens, and he's like in the parking lot kind of thing. Like, do what you got to do.
Yeah. And I think that all these answers come down to like, I think it's fun to see in the groups, and in some of the other groups, especially recently, there have been some really heated debates, and we're trying to wrangle them in our group to make sure people that have finite plans for your business and say, this is how you should do your business, this is how you should do you, they're the ones that cause all the strife, because everyone has a really unique situation. And so you might be negative in your checking account right now. And so, yeah, you may need to take it, whatever, like do what you got to do. You may need to give somebody $1,000 off if they pay in full for a wedding in 2022, or like you have to do whatever you need to do to run your business well. And so that's why I think the timing of this episode with like the pricing and your course, I really do think that it's really timely, as number one, we can work on looking at all that stuff with our free minds. And number two, we can really work on what it is that is us doing us. And so there's a couple of questions on here about just your brand, things like that. I would love to ask just a couple more before we get into your actual pricing course here. Chris once asked, how have you gone about establishing your brand and services in a new area and price bracket? So you've moved recently. How have you gone about establishing that brand and your services in a new area?
So it's funny because while I have moved, I'm still in Texas. And since the beginning, I always tried to advertise and market myself as an all of Texas videographer because I was willing to travel. And so I know some people are like, oh, I'm only a Houston videographer or photographer. I'm only a Dallas. I was like, no, I'll travel. It's cool. And so moving was significantly easier because my bookings aren't just coming, oh, it's only Dallas, I got to drive back up there. No, it's all over. And so that's been really good. But I would say that if you've just moved, this is all such a relationship-based business. And so,
so much.
This is where I know that whenever we moved to Dallas, we lived in College Station, we moved to Dallas, and we were intentionally reaching out to photographers that we liked, wedding planners that we liked, other people in the industry. I joined a co-working space of other people that were also like all creative. And that helped out so much because the amount of referrals that came in, the amount of bookings that came in, I remember sitting at the co-working space table and some guy like, hey, you want to go film a wedding in Yosemite? And I'm like, yeah, I want to go do that. This is awesome. And so stuff like that, it's all relationship based. And so even if you've just moved, like setting up meetings, doing that, granted in this time, setting up Zoom calls with people, just getting to know them. I think that's all good right now.
Yeah. Oh, that's great. That's great. Love it. Last question. I'll come back to our friend Matt Shamlu. And he says, how do you go about charging additional days, extra activities, especially during destination wedding where they may go hiking or have some kind of intimate kind of party or, something like that? How do you go about charging that stuff?
I think it's nice. I kind of already answered that a little bit earlier, which is good.
I think
but
you did.
It really, just keep in mind, like if it's something you really want to do, and if somebody you think is going to enhance the story, enhance the video, then I would say be willing to work with them on a discount. Because also keep in mind, for destination weddings, like the main cost is like getting you out there, like flying you out, getting you to this place. They're already paying for your hotel room, board, food, or they should be. Don't take weddings just for free travel. It's not a good idea, speaking from experience. But so it's definitely something that keep in mind that if you're already there, okay, then it's not much more of an expense for you to like go out and like film the couple because
sure,
all the expenses are already covered for that, which is good. So keep that in mind whenever you're formulating costs.
Love it.
Yeah.
All right. So a lot more questions. Matt is very involved in our Facebook group, of course. We really want to talk about the Learn Wedding Film Pricing course that you're releasing today as we drop this episode, and we're going to do that right after this break. Do you remember that wedding from a month ago? Yeah, like that one that you needed to start editing yesterday? But you also need to prep today for your wedding tomorrow, and you're leaving for your first vacation in forever on Monday. So what do? It seems that the only creative part of your edits are the excuses you're going to have to give your clients. We have the solution, Wedditor. Wedditor is a team of top wedding editors, project managers, and account coordinators that help us wedding filmmakers edit. They match the right editors with your style so you can spend your time where it matters most, on your business. Nick and I both use Wedditor, and we don't know how we would run our companies without them. It takes a team to build an amazing business, and you shouldn't try to do it all on your own. Head over to howtofilmweddings.com/wedditor to help you free up your time so that you can focus on growing your brand. Be sure to use promo code HTFW for $50 off your first project. Wedditor, more than freelance, more than outsourcing. We know the time suck that is searching for the perfect song for your wedding film. MusicBed has spent years collaborating with artists, bands, and composers to make it easier than ever for anyone to find the right song for their video.
With amazing artists like Chapters, Tony Anderson, and The Light the Heat, MusicBed is the best place for wedding videographers to get licensed music.
Their subscription service was a life changer for me, especially since all of their subscription music is pre-cleared for every social media platform: Facebook, Instagram, Love Stories TV, and my personal favorite, YouTube, all pre-cleared.
And if you are interested in a free month of a MusicBed wedding subscription, head over to howtofilmweddings.com/musicbed. When you sign up, use the promo code HTFW and you will get your first month for free.
All right, we are back from break with Matt Johnson, and this is the part of the podcast I've been most excited about. I want to hear all of the things about your new pricing course. Tell us all the things, Matt. What is it? Where can we get it? Why do we need to buy this thing?
Why do you need this thing? Oh, man. Okay, I realized that I did have some trepidation. Should I launch something in the middle of a pandemic? Is that a good choice or not? But going back to our initial talk about how we have time to do things, I think that this is a really, really great time for you to look through your pricing. Your pricing that you're currently offering, your pricing that you want to raise to in the future. And this is one of those things where you oftentimes put it off. It's so easy to just be like, I know that I've done that, where it's like, oh, I'll look at my pricing later. I got weddings to edit right now. I'll raise them later, raise my prices later. And then you're still filming weddings like a year later at the same price, and you're like, oh no, this is bad. Why am I charging so little? So I was really wanting to make some sort of course about business. And I saw how big you guys' complete wedding videography course, even the business section, is absurdly massive, which is amazing, the depth and breadth of content. But for me, I was like, I cannot do something this big. This is a monster. I'm not two people. I'm one.
It was a lot, yes.
Yeah.
So I was really thinking, let's hone in on just one thing. And I host this wedding film review live stream every month. And consistently, every single time I review somebody's wedding film, it comes up, what did you charge for this film? And the chat, every single time we announce what the person charged, everybody's like, you need to charge more. Come on, you got to raise your prices. This video is so good. And so there's it's a major, I don't want to say issue with with wedding filmmaking, but it's definitely something that a lot of people struggle with. I know that I struggled with it for years.
Definitely.
What should you charge? How do you raise your prices? How do you start pricing properly, but then also continue pricing properly as you get bigger? So I was like, what do I name this thing? And I took the How to Film Weddings approach of how direct can I make this course title? Okay, if they've got How to Film Weddings, let's do Learn Wedding Film Pricing as just basic as you can get. Not basic in a bad way, direct in a good way. What you read is what you get, and that's what I like about it. And so the whole push of this course is really for 3 different types of wedding filmmakers. If you are a beginner wedding filmmaker and you aren't sure what to charge, if you're struggling saying, I'm charged $500 like I did for my first wedding, or you're filming weddings for free, or you're in the price bracket of fighting over $1,000 weddings with other videographers, or you have couples nickel and diming you, can you do it for $750? And you're like, yeah, like, okay, I just need the bookings right now. We've all been there.
Right.
And so I made the course for those wedding filmmakers. But I also feel like there's a more experienced filmmaker that is figured out how to make a profit. You're making money, but also you're kind of confused about your packages. You're not quite sure what to offer. You're thinking, well, I'm making stuff, but I'm not super happy with it. For me, there came a point a few years in, I was making money, but I wasn't creatively fulfilled with what I was making. I hated the films that I was making just because they weren't creatively satisfying. And so this course sort of takes you through how to look at your packages in a way that's creatively fulfilling to you while also making you money. And it shows you how to expand your pricing in a way where you can still get couples that are at the lower end of the range that you want to make, but also how your pricing can expand to this really upper level where you're able to get these couples that have significantly more budget. You're not leaving money on the table, which is really great. And then, sorry, I realize I'm rambling here for a lot here. If you're also like an experienced wedding filmmaker, if you've been filming weddings for years, but you're also saying, I want to book more couples. You're losing some of your bookings and you're not sure why. You're saying, I sent the pricing to the couple and they just never got back to me. The course also goes through a way that you can present your pricing to really maximize those bookings and present your pricing in the best light. So whether you're new or experienced, it's got something for you.
And I was able to log on and see, and I scrolled through. There are a lot of sections that I feel like the length of them, it's bite sized enough where you can and they're titled very well. So it's like, oh, I need to grab this part, I need to learn this part. But it's not just like, hey, here's 30 minutes on how to price your wedding films. Maybe go into a little depth on like how you broke it up, how much content there actually is inside the course.
Yeah, definitely. So it's not some mega course that's going to take you a long time to get through. Not throwing shade at complete wedding videography here. That is, you need everything. You have everything. This is a little bite-sized look at pricing. And so what's great about it is that you can learn very quickly. I know I'm a fast talker. I'm very aware of that. And so what I've found is that I can make a 5-minute YouTube video that can be super informative. And I've watched YouTube videos that are like 10 minutes long that have completely revolutionized everything that I'm doing in some aspect of my business or filmmaking. And so I said, okay, can we apply that sort of fast, quick learning to a course? And so the course itself is only 15 lessons, but the way that I've broken them down is watch this, and then you're going to learn exactly what you need to know quickly. And so it's really deep info, but it's quick info, which I think is really helpful for people that say, oh, I don't want to spend like a ton of time on something, like teach me what I need to know quickly. And that's how I learn best. Yeah. And so I was trying to do that.
No, it was great. And that's what I love about your film, or your YouTube videos, your tutorials. It's like, hey, I need to know how to export a video for Instagram. Okay, there's a quick video how to do it. You're not wasting any time. There's no fluff. It's broken down. And then there's also a guide. I would love to hear more about that because I think it's a great thing to have in the community.
Definitely. So I was considering making this pricing course, and I was looking around and I realized that there are a ton of photographers selling pricing guides. So they basically are this PDF guide that you can send to your couples whenever they inquire that is going to educate them about your filmmaking or your photography, because these were photographers. It's going to show them your pricing, and it's going to answer their questions. And this is something that I had been doing for years. I would send out a PDF pricing guide to my couples, but I had not seen anybody else creating these guides and templates in a way that makes you be able to present your wedding film pricing in a very professional way. And so I said, well, I need to do this, dang it. And this is also happens to be going back to me saying, this is the time to looking at everything that you're doing. I said, well, if I'm going to redo my own pricing guide, there should also be a template that I can share with other people and offer up to other people to buy as well. And so it's funny because if you want to talk about practicing what you preach, like the pricing guide template that I'm selling is literally the same thing that I'm using for my business now, because I think it's that good. And that's so great. This is, I think it looks awesome. And so it's An optional. So the course itself is going to be $197, but it's on sale for the launch week. But if you want, you can purchase the pricing guide either as a standalone or as an add-on. So if you want this template for the pricing guide, it's regularly $97, but if you bundle it with the course, then it's half off. And so you can get the course and the pricing guide for $247.
That's awesome.
And so it's for people that want it, you can get it. But if you don't, or if you pick what you want, which I'm really big on giving people choice.
Yeah.
And we have you can find links to all this stuff. All you need to do is go to howtofilmweddings.com/whoismatt. Matt has his own page living on our website. So if you want the pricing guide, if you want the template, if you want whatever, you can find it there at howtofilmweddings.com/whoismatt. Yeah. So another thing that I think that we would like to publicize a little bit in case people might not know is you yourself have also started a Facebook group, and you're running that and doing that. So why don't you talk just for a second about that for anyone that might not know about that?
Oh, thank you. First of all, caveat here: it is not nearly as advanced as the How to Film Weddings Facebook group. Okay, we're still young, still figuring things out, but it's something that I've been wanting to do for a long time. I spend a decent amount of time on Facebook, and I was always like, I never felt connected enough in the sense of, how can I say this here? Sorry, Blake. I want to make something that can connect filmmakers with me more directly. And so I really want this to be a group that I can spend time in. I find that before I had my own Facebook group, I was in like 5 groups, 6 groups all the time, like browsing through all of them. And I still do that. But I really feel like this is someplace that I can really pour into my own people and say like, okay, if you're here, let me answer your questions. Let me be here. It's more of a guarantee of my presence for people that want that than just posting in a random group, because I'll get tagged in like the wedding videographers group or something like that. And I'm like, what are people saying over here? I'm not even aware of what's going on. I'm very aware of what's going on in my group. So that's cool.
Yeah, and as having a following of people and, you're a couple 100,000 followers on YouTube or whatever, it is hard to stay connected with so many different groups and things. And I've loved, I'm in your Facebook group, and just it's a great place for you to get feedback for your own channel and for your videos, and to interact with people that for sure are like your people. And so we feel uncomfortable, like, if Nick and I are going into, someone else's group, like we don't want to promote something in there. We don't want to and so having a Facebook group that's very niche, like that is, obviously I see a lot more people going that way. And so when you said you were doing a group, I was like, yes, I want it, because that's the only reason that I think most of us use Facebook anymore. It's just the groups. I mean, I don't get on there and check my Candy Crush scores anymore, or Farmville. I don't know. Nick was on there doing that last week, but
what are you talking about?
Yeah, sure. No, but this is all good stuff. Of course, we always appreciate you being on the show. We got to wrap it up, but if you haven't checked out howtofilmweddings.com/whoismatt yet, get over there. The course launches the day we drop this podcast. So Matt, thank you so much again for being a guest again on the How to Film Weddings podcast.
Thank you.
Well, again, thank you, Matt, so much for coming on the podcast today. We really appreciate you taking the time. Again, we want you to head over to howtofilmweddings.com/whoismatt. There you can get his pricing video guide, his pricing template. You can get all of the things Who is Matt Johnson in one place on howtofilmweddings.com. If you're watching this on YouTube, please subscribe, rate and review us on your favorite podcatcher. And until next time, we will see ya.
We'll see ya.